There might only be a few days left of this summer transfer window, but Newcastle United are not done yet, despite being on the brink of bringing in our new record signing 65 million, 6'6" striker, Woltemade from Stuttgart, to be what a lot of people thought our number 9. No. And loads of you guys told me this in the comments yesterday. Reports from Sky Sports coming out that he will wear number 27 this upcoming season. So, who's going to wear the number 9? Well, it looks like Newcastle are still hoping to bring him in before the window closes. We're going to talk a little bit about Wissa and Strand Larsen, who have both been left out of their matchday squads today. As well, how will this affect Alexander ISAK? And we also play Leeds later on today as well, so we'll talk a little bit about that. Yes, guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another early start this morning. Cup of tea in hand, so grab yours and we'll get cracking with this one. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Drop a like on the video if you are enjoying the content at the moment. As I say, the 30th of August today. Window closes 1st of September. I think it's like 6 or 7 p.m. So we are really toeing the line. And bearing in mind, quite often with weekends like this week, like Eddie Howe will be, well, on his way to Leeds shortly. Obviously, it's a 5:30 kick-off, so he's got plenty of time. A nice lie-in this morning for Eddie Howe. Unlike me, who's up doing videos. And then I've got a busy day before we watch the game later on. But quite often with match days, things get put to one side. You know, you've got bigger fish to fry. So to crack on with the transfers will be interesting. Will it be half-time? We had it with the Champions League results. All of a sudden, we're buying someone. Half-time at the Leeds game. Who knows? Stranger things have happened. But as I've mentioned already, we've brought in, or we are waiting on the announcement of, I should imagine it wouldn't happen today with the game going on. Maybe tomorrow night we'll have the Woltemade photos inside. He's been spotted inside of St. James's Park. He's been spotted at the training ground. He's been spotted at the Dakota Hotel. He's basically been spotted everywhere. And it was expected that when the announcement does come, he would have the number 9 shirt. But reports are that is not to be the case. And I have to say, I expected him to wear number 9. Like, in what world do you buy a new £65 million striker? And, you know, obviously the number 9 is synonymous with the club, Shearer, Milburn, long list of fantastic number 9s. People have said, you know, we don't just give the number 9 away. You've got to go and earn the number 9 before you're given it, which I get and I like. I like that kind of thought process behind it. But, the likes of Callum Wilson coming in, and Shearer was telling him, like, ask for the number 9. Like, you want the number 9 the moment you walk in the door. The fact, that Newcastle haven't, maybe he's not bothered, maybe he's not fussed, maybe it isn't quite his thing. Reports are that as much as he can be that 6'6" big man up top who wins the headers and gets the crosses, which I think he will, he also likes to play that kind of drop slightly deeper, get, kind of what Harry Kane kind of used to do when he kind of drops in, can spray the ball to Elanga, can spray the ball to Gordon. And I think essentially if that's maybe more of the game plan, then maybe he isn't the stand in the middle number 9. But come on, like 65 million, he's a striker. You'd think it would be the first man you give it to. But as I've mentioned, it sounds like, and reports from Sky Sports are, that will not be the case, and that Newcastle are still working on bringing in that number 9. Comment down below, do you think with, I can't say 3 days, but technically if you include today, you could say it's like 2 days and hours, really. Can Newcastle bring in another striker? Well, it looks like we're trying, and interestingly enough, both Wissa and Strand Larsen are missing from them weekend squads today. Wissa, we know, has publicly announced that he wants to leave and wants to go to Newcastle. Strand Larsen has said, reportedly behind the scenes, that he wants to go politely. So he's doing it the better way, the way that it should be done, not what ISAK or Wissa's doing in complete fairness, because I don't fully agree with that either. But Wolves have just had a bid accepted today for the Genk striker Akode, 27 million. Brentford have just had a bid rejected from Dortmund for Bier, 45 million. So both clubs with 2 days to go actively trying to bring in a replacement. You can tell me down in the comments below. Do you think it's going to be, hang on, let me get it. Wissa? I've seen the comments. People don't like Wissa. Wissa? There you go. That's for you guys. Will it be Wissa or will it be Strand Larsen? Let me know in the comments down below. Which one do you prefer? Which one do you think is more likely to happen? For me, I think I like Strand Larsen more. I like that he hasn't behaved I think he's behaved in a very good way. He's 4 or 5 years younger. Generally speaking, I think probably has more in him for the next 3, 4, 5 years. But I think when you're bringing in 2 strikers, Woltemade already on his way in, I think Wissa will, I need a pronunciation lesson on that name, I think he will add something a little bit different. Essentially what I think Newcastle are looking to do is, despite having gone abroad, we've talked about it all summer. Why are we paying the high fees in the Premier League when there's opportunities abroad? Look, Woltemade is not cheap, 65 million, but in the grand scheme of things, if you'd paid that for a 23-year-old striker in the Premier League, you would have been looking at 80, 90 million. So Newcastle have tried to push abroad to find that change up, but in as much as I'm excited to see him get involved, there could still be an adapted period. There is still the possibility that he gets here, he plays his first game, and it is a little bit quick, and it is a little bit rough, and it does take him maybe a little bit of time to get used to it. So I definitely don't disagree that having the opportunity to bring in one of those 2 is not a bad move for Newcastle. Both players left out of their matchday squads, both teams trying to replace them. Do you think one of them 2 could be the new number 9? If you would like to see one of them 2 come in and be the new number 9, drop a like on this video. I imagine many will. As I've mentioned, Newcastle are still pushing hard, still links to midfielders as well. Eddie Howe was clear in his pre-match interview ahead of the Leeds game that we are not done yet and that he still wants to bring more players in before the window ends. And look, we're talking about the announcement of our brand new £65 million striker. Who knows? If we hold off long enough, maybe we can do a double announcement for 2 strikers on Sunday night. You heard it here first. But it's going to be tough. And then obviously Alexander Isak is somewhere down the pecking order. We'll worry about him later. But I have to say, I think Newcastle will let Isak go if another striker comes in. It has to be. I would actually go as far as saying, I mentioned this yesterday, and there was, mixed reviews of my thoughts, and that's totally fine because everyone can think what they want. It's been no lie that there's been interest of Liverpool to place the bid that never came back, and everyone. Well, I'm sitting here as well going, where's the Isak bid? Like, what's going on? Surely the moment they got a sniff of us bringing in a new striker, the bid would have come flying in. Whether it was 120, 130, Newcastle can reject it and go, no, we want more. But the ball's moving, the talk's going, and we're kind of into something here. Nothing's happened. And I find it really odd, as I say, with 2 days and 6 hours to go, or whatever, longer than that. 6 hours and 12 hours to go. Yeah. 2 days. Can you tell it's early? 2 days and 12 hours to go. You would imagine that it would have been breaking news. Literally, unless, they're waiting for the announcement first before they put the bid in. But with such little time, I think that Newcastle, behind closed doors, like we did with Woltemade, we've made that agreement. It's all clicked through in a day. We're talking about Wissa, we're talking about Strand Larsen. Who knows? Maybe there's somebody else we're talking to that could all of a sudden come out of the woodwork. I suggest not, because I think Newcastle are looking for that Premier League proven striker to come in and complete the set, as it were. But it would not surprise me if behind the scenes Newcastle have already had a conversation with Liverpool. Maybe a fee's even already agreed. Eddie Howe spoke continuously about PSR and wanting to keep things clean. It's almost as, we've just bought this record signing and we're looking at more signings. It's almost as if we know we've got 140 million about to drop into our bank account. Like, it feels that way. But just with such little time, like, I appreciate we made that transfer happen quickly, but Newcastle haven't exactly been known for doing things quickly. And it also wouldn't surprise me if it's Monday morning, we've played the game, no new strikers come in, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, what's going on with ISAK again? Oh, well, it looks like he's going nowhere. I think as well, once again, I don't want to harp on about ISAK, but it's an interesting one because the owners tried so hard to say that nothing's going to happen, and then we're at a situation now where I think it's looking more and more guaranteed that it is. And if they have, and we've pushed it so far, like, that's why I've got to think an agreement's already been done. Because if we go and buy another striker and go, can we sell ISAK now? And they go, yeah, 110. Oh, you offered 120 last time. Yeah, but you've bought loads of players. You're going to struggle with PSR. You're going to have to sell people. We're just going to give you what we want. Like, that's why I feel like if Newcastle are going to be as bold, unless we're gonna just go for it and just get another striker in, and if ISAK doesn't go, then screw it. We're not bothered. And I don't mind that point of view either, because I kind of also feel like he shouldn't be rewarded for the way he's behaved. So yeah, you can let me know your thoughts on that one. Do you think there's time for Newcastle to bring? I mentioned already. Drop a like if you want to see that new striker coming in. In the comments, let me know if you genuinely think there's actually time for it, and we can kind of make that double switch for Woltemade, new striker, ISAK out. But regardless, none of those players will be available for the game later on today. Predictions down in the comments for the game against Leeds later on. Obviously, trip to Ellen Road. They got smashed by Arsenal 5-0 in their last game, which is somewhat promising for us. We played very well in our last two games. Against Villa, against Liverpool, came away with 1 point from both games. I've seen people saying that had we had a striker, we could have been top of the league with 6 points. And, it's easy to say that. It's not necessarily guaranteed that would have happened. And I wouldn't ever be as bold to say that either. But what was clear was that had we had a striker in those two games, then, we would have scored at least one extra goal in both games. And that would have given us, a win and a draw. So, yes, we definitely missed a striker. But, yeah, there's no point moaning about it because we're not going to have it again today. Asula is the man who could potentially start up front for us. Given that he is playing against a promoted side, maybe that will be at his level to really go and show the world what you can do. Eddie Howe, he scored a goal the other day, and I was really happy for him. Eddie Howe spoke about in the press conference. He was asked about him quite early on, where he was quite positive, and he was like, yeah, really happy for him. Played really well, he's improving all the time. And then he was asked later on about the opportunity of Asula leaving on a loan deal, which I've just said is like, surely it's out of the question. Give Asula the number 9. I was like, it's surely out of the question. We don't have the resource of players to let Asula leave on a loan deal. But Eddie Howe was very much like, he was very reserved, really. He was like, well, he's done really well, and you forget sometimes how far someone's coming along in a year, and it's like, well, it doesn't sound like you're feeling particularly happy with his progress, but it's almost like saying, oh, he's still behind where you want. Oh, well, you forget how well he's done. It's like, it doesn't, exactly lifting him to the rafters of bumping him up, are you? So Eddie Howe clearly has a question mark on him still. I think he's good. I think he brings energy. He's excitable. I mentioned when he scored the other day, he came on, he scored the goal, and then really ruffled Liverpool up. And look, I think I had a few comments saying, oh, well, he's come on and he's done that. Like, don't be negative. It wasn't negativity. I just think that's what it's the unpredictability, which can be a good thing. It was a very feisty game. He's come on, he's pulled a few shirts, he's kicked a few players. We like that, But Eddie Howe doesn't like that. That's the point I'm making. He looked good. He was exciting. I think Eddie Howe was very strict. And Asula he's a bit of a wildfire. Like, I like it. I think the fans like it. I think fans have grown to Asula. Ant Deck called him Crazy Will Asula when they met him. So it's proven. But it's just whether he fits. So will he start it? I actually would like to see it, to be honest. Asula up front, Elanga and Barnes. But if I had to make a serious guess, I would say it'll be Elanga, Barnes, and Murphy as the front three. Tonali, I reckon, will be back. So it will be Bruno, Tonali, and Miley. And then Shaw's back as well. So I think Botman will spend another game on the bench. Longstaff will be on the other side. So we'll see how he gets on. I'll go for 1-0 Newcastle. I just can't see us scoring many goals until we get hopefully 2 strikers in by the end of this weekend. I think we're gonna struggle. Leeds, as I say, lost 5-0 last time round, but they're at home. They're gonna make a hell of a lot of noise. 5:30 kick-off for them is awesome, to be honest. I wish we were playing Leeds at 5:30 on a Saturday. We are. Sorry. We are, but I meant at St. James's Park because the crowd would just be totally on our side. They will have a beard-up crowd on theirs. No doubt the Geordies in the away end will make the noise for us anyway. Right, I'm going to leave it there. Predictions for the game down below. Thoughts on whether Newcastle will make any more moves this window. All of the noise is a yes, but I'm just struggling with the timeline. But the fact that we're not given the new striker, number 9, says to me we must have something in the back pocket. Because in what world are we not giving an £85 million player our new striker the number 9 shirt? Right, I'm going to go. Thanks for watching, guys. Thoughts and comments down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Content later on today from the game, reactions, vlogs and everything else. So do not miss out. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.